One, and we are now recording. So, Tiffany, first and foremost, I want to thank you for this. I know you're known as everyone's favorite closing attorney. That's one hat you wear, but you're also a mother and a wife. So I appreciate that. Um, First and foremost, I wanted to thank you and introduce you a little bit, but can you tell everybody a little bit about who you are and your background?
Hi, Taj. Thank you
Hey,
for taking the time to interview me today. So my name is Tiffani Hawes. I am the owner of the Hawes Law Firm. I've been in business for 6 years, but I am a mom of 3 children, business owner, a wife, and some may call me Superwoman.
yeah, sure. Okay. So talk to us a little about the Hawes Law Firm specifically. I know that is your firm, and the reason why I liked you so much, number one, you work hard. I really respect that. I love that. I see that. And you have used social media really, really well. So what would you like everyone to know about the Hawes Law Firm? What goes on there? What do you guys specialize in? And what would you like people to know?
Okay, so the Hawes Law Firm was birthed 6 years ago. But prior to then, I was a real estate paralegal, and I went to law school at night. And so I've had my opportunity of working for attorneys. And I wouldn't say that's something that I wanted to go down the road and do. So I decided that opening my own firm would be the route to where I wanted my life to go. So when I graduated law school and I passed the bar, I opened up the Hawes Law Firm. Now, I told you I was a paralegal, and that gave me the experience necessary to be able to do the closing. But I didn't have the business mind of how to run a law firm. I didn't realize that knowing how to do the work and actually getting people to partake in that is two separate things. And I did the things that I thought I should be doing. I went and randomly talked to random people and networked, and hey, here's my card. I'm Tiffany. I'm the closing attorney. And I assumed that everybody was going to say, oh, she's a closing attorney, therefore I'm going to send her business. And that's not what happened. That is not what happened.
As is most things, right?
Right.
It's not exactly how you planned. For sure.
Exactly. So knocking down those doors, and I'm like, okay, I'm not connecting something here. I didn't realize that in this industry, the business part of it, there are real estate attorneys that have relationships with real estate brokers, and those real estate brokers take those relationships and not necessarily force them onto their agents, but make the agents aware that this is the person that you're going to use. And to get those relationships with the brokers, it's a hard task. And honestly, it's a high paying task, right? Closing attorneys rent spaces for high dollars, and that's just not what I had. So I had to go back to the drawing board. And one day I was just on Instagram and I looked up the hashtag Atlanta real estate agent. And I was like, oh my God, this is where everyone is. This is where I need to be. And at that moment, I was like, okay, I can do this. It's social media. Let me try it. So I actually direct messaged a few agents. Hey, I'm Tiffany, and use my law firm. Give me a try. Not many people reached back out, but I had about 2 people that actually reached out, actually gave me a try, because they weren't used to seeing people like me. They were used to seeing real estate law firms that didn't look anything like me. So they were actually excited for the opportunity to do business with someone that actually looked like them. They gave me a try. It worked. They posted me on their social media, and then I got other referrals from that. And I was like, ding, 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 ding. This is your thing. This will be your niche. Build your page, with your personality, and this is how you go and get business. Each year has done nothing but increase. Right now, like you said earlier, I've kind of branded myself as everyone's favorite closing attorney. People will know my hashtag before they actually know my name. They was like, oh, I went and searched your hashtag because I couldn't remember your name, but I knew your hashtag because it's just caught on. It's caught on with a lot of agents, a lot of people in this industry. I think the thing that most gravitates agents to me is because, I'm real. Like, I am a mom, I have 3 kids, and I show that real side to me on social media. I am an attorney, but, you know, I have the student loans to prove it, but I wouldn't say that I look, act, talk the way your traditional attorney, the way people think in their mind an attorney is supposed to be. That's just not the image that I give. I give the image and the aura of she's just like me. And I feel like when people feel like they can relate to somebody, not only do they want to do business with them, but they also trust them. They trust somebody that they can actually relate to versus feeling intimidated, going into a room with somebody who looks not necessarily more superior than to them, but just somebody they look like they can't even, like if they talk, they won't understand what they're saying. But when they talk to me, they're like, oh, I know exactly what she's saying. I know exactly where she's coming from. I trust her. I like her. I can relate to her. She's a mom. She's doing the best that she can. She's not perfect, but you can tell that she definitely works hard. So that is the story of the Hawes Law Firm. And that is, you know, how I like to do business. It just makes everything easier. I don't like to pay for business or do anything like that because those relationships just seem to be a little bit more tougher to keep. But when people actually like you and you actually like the people that you work with, it just makes the whole thing much easier.
Yeah, it's very natural. And you said two things that are really, really key. Referrals is huge. And I think when it's genuine, it's just, those are, I think, the quality of the relationship is so much greater. Just that relationship tends to grow a lot more organically because somebody told you about somebody else, how great of a job they did. And it's a really warm transition, which is great. And I think the fact that you're relatable, whether that be we're moms, we have kids, we go to the same church, we go to the same gym. And you said that people see you just being a real person and it's not the everyday attorney that people see. I love that because I think how I came to know of you was the hashtag. And then you're fun. Your social media was always extremely entertaining for me. I loved it. I loved it. So one thing, so I think you may have touched on it, but the Hawes Law Firm specializes in real estate.
Residential real estate closings. So I am one of those people. I'm not a person that does this, that, this, and that. I focus on what I know. And what I know is residential real estate closings. I've been doing them since 2006. You can't know everything in real estate because real estate is so dynamic. It has so many different factors in it, but I definitely know what I'm doing and I'm comfortable doing it. I can wake up and do it, go to sleep and do it. And I feel like when you focus on something, people will flock to the person who has the knowledge on that system versus doing this, that, and the other and knowing a little bit of this and that and kind of feeling your way through. I don't have to feel my way through real estate. Like that is my bread and butter. That is what I know. That is what I'm comfortable with. And it's clear, you know, that I'm not just figuring this thing out. I actually kind of know what I'm doing. So I put all my energy into that one thing that I actually know what I'm doing. And that's just the residential real estate closings. It's not all real estate closings because you have commercial, you have investors who do wholesale deals. All those are little pockets. What my bread and butter is your traditional closing. Your buyer purchasing, your first time home buyer purchasing from a seller, or seller selling their home and buying a different home, kind of primary occupants homes. That is what I focus in and I primarily do with my practice.
Awesome. So let's transition here. I got a few questions that I'd like to know, and I've been asked several times just from people who still may be in the market, who may have some questions, who may be apprehensive a little bit, but are folks still closing? So I want to read a few facts that I got just as a realtor and what's going on in the market, and then I want you to answer that question. So as of April 1st to the 22nd, so total home sales are down 28%. New listings are down 33%. The inventory is down 14%. Contract listings are down 27%. And then active listings are down 6%. And that's from the Georgia MLS. And that's just from April 1st to the 22nd. So I think the reality of things changing is starting to happen. It wasn't really as impactful last month because I didn't think everything was at full tilt. But I was looking over those numbers today, and I think we're starting to see the effects of what's going on in the economy. But from your perspective, are transactions still closing, and are people still making it to the closing table?
Yes, most definitely. For a lot of closing attorneys, this has actually been our busiest season for two reasons. Not just your residential purchase closings, but you have refinancing. So you have a lot of people that are refinancing into lower rates, which can have an effect on sellers listing their homes. So they're deciding to stay a little longer, get in at a lower interest rate to make their homes more affordable. But then you have those who weren't affected by the market, you know, whose jobs have allowed them to work from home and still move forward with purchasing. And people are still doing it. You know, if anything, we always have to have a place over our head. And if you still have the job and the ability to make income, people are still moving forward with those purchases without being scared of what's going on. Because what is your alternative? To rent? Well, you still have to pay somebody. And if you're renting from a landlord, there's always the landlord, you know, losing their house to foreclosure or something. Then you're back at square one. So home ownership is a top priority for people. Now, how is it affecting your typical buyers? Well, right now, the credit score minimums have kind of went up. Closings are taking longer to get to the closing table because whenever you purchase a property, there's certain things that the closing attorney has to go through, and also the lender. Appraisals are taking longer because now you just don't have a lot of people out doing stuff. Some people are just not working as much. The county courthouses are closed down, which causes the delay in getting title back. With people working from home, you have some people that work only a few days a week, so getting pre-closing items like homeowners association letters in small counties and cities where the tax bills are not online, we're having to email the tax companies, and we don't get a response for 5-6 days, and that's causing a delay. Things that people didn't really realize that could cause a delay in closing are definitely causing those delays. So right now, you know, what we're pushing for with a lot of people is patience. And even the real estate agents, yeah, things have slowed down, but if you be patient, honestly, the people that you're dealing with as far as buyers at this point are buyers that can actually purchase properties and not buyers that are wasting your time because they're on a lower credit income where, you know, if they do one thing, they're disqualified after you work for weeks, you know, trying to get them to the closing table. You have people that are going to the closing table who are more qualified buyers, which is good for sellers. It's good as a negotiation thing, and it's good for real estate agents because you're not having to run around with so many people that, you know, may or may can't make it to the closing table. You know, you're running around with people who are actually qualified buyers. And because you still have qualified buyers out here, yes, people are still purchasing.
Absolutely. And that's a conversation I've had with folks as well. Is it seems like the seriousness of the buyer is you're working with people who are a lot more serious. And I always say, you know, consider all your options. For some folks, this could be a reason to step back. For example, if your credit score isn't where it needs to be, if you have, unfortunately, your income has been affected. These are all things to consider moving forward. But absolutely, if your income, or you're in one of those fields like healthcare or something else where your income is strong and this is still something you want to do, you're ready, you're willing and able, you are still able to do so. And I'm glad you shared that because that is a question that I've gotten, and I know folks are very curious, like, are things still moving forward? And that's a good segue into our next one. How have things changed? Because I know they have changed. They are still happening, which is fantastic. But I know with just regulations and how folks have to interact now until we find ourselves on the other side of this thing, how has the closing physically looked different than it once was for you? The actual process, interacting with folks.
So it has changed drastically,
Absolutely.
right?
I know it has.
So I kind of brand myself as, you know, like the celebration attorney. So once the buyers have gone through the rigmarole of you know, high emotions where they're excited and sad emotions because, you know, things may not be going the way that they want to, whether or not they got the house they wanted, whether or not the lender has asked for 10,000 more documents. So once they've gone through all of that and they actually make it to my closing table, I want to celebrate them, you know, because that's the last step. Like, you've made it through the hard part. So our firm does little things just to make them feel special. Before you walk in, we have a congratulatory sign outside. when you come in, we have the picture of your beautiful house and congratulations on a huge TV screen, just so that you can feel special. Once we close, we take a little picture and we put it in a keychain for you, and we celebrate the buyers as much as possible. We don't have time for that now, right? People are uncomfortable. People, for our safety, we can't have everybody come at the same time. The physical, being physically in my office became too much of a burden. We had to clean after every single closing, and that's fine. We don't have any issues with that. But when you go to the store to get more cleaning supplies and they don't have them because they're out, it makes it physically impossible to do so. And I'm very thorough when it comes to cleaning and making sure everything is legitimately disinfected. I was like, okay, I have to come up with something else that we can do that will get the buyers in, get the sellers in and out, and keep everyone safe at the same time. So I said, you know what? I went and grabbed a table, I got some chairs, and I set up outside my office. People come up. When people are standing or they're outside, I mean, right now the weather is beautiful, but things move a little bit faster. The area where you have to clean is much smaller, so it makes it more doable. And actually people are more comfortable doing it. At first we gave it as an option, and when everybody was like, I'll take that option, we were like, okay, this is just across the board. We'll do these pull-up closings. You pull up, you get out, you sign, you get back in your car, and you go home. We still try to celebrate the buyer and still give them knowledge, and still try to make it as the best of the experience as we can, but it's not like it used to be. It definitely is not.
Yeah, it is. It is. I agree. It is drastically changed. So, but it sounds like you're making adjustments, and you got to do what you got to do to keep serving people and to keep your doors open. So the closing has looked very different, very different. So I agree. Okay, well, in wrapping up, this has been fantastic. I just wanted to get a few questions answered for me, but also just interact with you about your background, things of that nature. But in closing, what would you like people to know about you and the Hawes Law Firm?
One thing I would love for people to know about me is, number one, I work really, really hard. And I don't just do this for money. I mean, we all run businesses for money, but I do this because I genuinely care. I care about not only the buyers, but I care about my employees. Being a business owner is a unique position. You have the ability to really affect people's lives and their livelihoods. People come and they work for me so that they can actually pay their bills. Like, I'm responsible for making sure that my employees can pay their bills. So that is really, really important to me. So the success of my law firm means that there are several families that are being successful as well. And that is like really important to me. Another thing that's really important to me is, number one, making buyers and sellers and real estate agents feel great, feel like they can come to somebody if they have a question about a real estate contract or pretty much anything. Just having that open level of communication, but also knowing that, hey, I'm a real person. My firm is a real firm, and nobody's perfect. We do the best that we can. We have every intention on getting things right every time, much like everybody. But in business, in life, in just being a human, we can't get it right every time. But if we can't get it right, people must know that we're going to do the best that we can, number one, to fix whatever wrong happened, and to make sure ultimately that the buyer and seller get to the closing table. And that is like the one thing that I want to leave with everyone. I think right now during this time, agents and buyers and people in general have a higher anxiety level. They're scared. When people are scared and they're anxious, sometimes that turns into anger. It turns into people being less patient. And as unfortunate as everything is right now, just having a partner that you know you can come to kind of guide you and help get you through this time. That's what I want to be for people. And I want people to understand that patience is kind of important in this business. And if I have to break down and give that knowledge to agents, especially those who don't have much experience in this industry, that is also a big part of who I am and who my firm is. Educating buyers and agents and sellers on the process, and also helping them navigate through this new process that everybody's kind of like up in the air on. So those are things that I really don't talk about much. You know, I promote the firm and fun and all of that, but I also want that human side of us to come out as well, that we can't get everything perfect, but if we get something wrong, we're definitely going to be there. We're going to fix it, and we'll be there the whole time with you guys to get you to the closing table.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Tiffani. You have been awesome. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to interact with me and share this information with me. If people want to find you and interact with you, what's the best way to either contact you or your firm to get more information?
So I am huge on social media. You can find me on Facebook, Tiffani Hawes, Hawes. You can also find me on Instagram. That's like where I'm at 90% of the time. Hawes Lawyer _ real estate. So HAWES Lawyer _ real estate. And also you can contact my firm. All that information is on social media. But any way that you contact me, I'm constantly on all these different social media, my emails, phones, all of that. I'm pretty much there all the time, you know, especially now. You can't do anything else.
Yeah, it's so funny how much people are engaging now on social media. Skyrocketed. So it's like if you weren't on social media, weren't paying attention before, now you definitely are, which is
right. Your audience is there.
for sure. So I'll link your Facebook page and some of your hashtags in the either the title or the comment section below after we're done. But thank you so much, Tiffani, and that is all I had today. Thank you so much for taking the time. Like I said, you wear many hats, so I appreciate it. And I tried to keep it brief, but I can't thank you enough. So I will see you soon, and you take care. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Taj. I appreciate you.
Bye, Tiffani.